Hello everyone. It's a beautiful day. I just got done fly fishing or practicing. I'm not gonna say I'm actually fly fishing. Practicing. There's a sign in the front of the campground as you come in with all the other information, and it's telling you not to stick spikes in the trees when you're doing your shade. It reminded me of Deception Pass when I first started my journey in this, whatever you call it, nomadic adventure camping. Anyway, Deception Pass, amazing, beautiful place. I don't. There's a winter storm came through and actually snapped a tree in half. It was a thick one too. And there was like a mandatory, not a voluntary leave the campground, not a mandatory. But I didn't even hear it. It was just so loud because when the wind starts blowing like that, it sounds like a freight train. I'm just huddled in my vehicle, getting hit by small little branches. It was an adventure. But I also remember when I was at that campground, there was, to my horror, I looked around and I saw spikes in all these trees of different like kinds of. I was like, oh, so I just started taking them out, and one in particular was really interesting because before I started doing that, I found this little bud and like a little branch, a little. It was like a sapling, but it was really beautiful. It was when it was ripped off one of the tops of the trees or whatever. And so look at it, it was cool. Cool. It was just sitting there on my table, and so I went over and one of this really big nail, I pulled it out of this really thick tree, and as soon as I pulled it out, sap just started pouring out. It was like, oh, like an open wound. I was like, oh. So what I did was I took that little sapling and I stuck it into a hole. I'm not sure if it did anything or stopped it from leaking. I went back a couple days later before I left and it wasn't leaking. So I thought that was kind of neat. But that also reminded me of trees in general and how much I love them. And Rush has a song about trees. I love Rush. Neil Peart, genius. I miss him. Anyway, so, and my time, one of my first real gigs when I was a kid was the Conservation Corps. It was almost like a, excuse me, almost like Job Corps kind of thing, but it was specifically California Conservation Corps. And they take these kids and you go to a center and for 3 or 4 weeks and you do like a boot camp thing where you get used to just being around other people and wearing these ugly uniforms and wearing helmets and all this stuff. It was stupid. I was trained to be a firefighter to fight forest fires, but I was sent to a salmon restoration center where basically you just went up into streams and you built up rocks and you so the salmon could spawn. And I had to learn as a crew leader. I was supposed to learn how to do all these things, cut down trees like a sawyer, use the chainsaw and all that stuff, and be certified. So, which I did all that, but I didn't really care much for cutting down trees. And we tried to use dead logs when we could, but it was important to use fresh trees because it would last longer when you're building embankments and stuff like that. So the teacher, he was a kind of a teacher. He was one of the supervisors at the Conservation Corps Center. His name was Gary. He was a Native American, but he was also African American, so he was cool. But he knew I was Native, and he asked me about that before I cut down this one tree. How I felt about it, and he could tell I didn't like it. But so we decided to do a ceremony. We thanked the tree for its sacrifice in helping the salmon, chain of life, and that did help a little bit. But I wasn't really big on cutting down, so I was like, I only did it once. So I learned how to cut down a tree with the chainsaw, and that was it. It's my empathic nature. I just not really big on that. So the Conservation Corps was an amazing experience. That was another really summer gig. I got the job. I ended up in Forest Glen on Highway 36 between Eureka and Redding. Or Red Bluff actually. It's just really it's kind of like this in the middle of nowhere. And there was a stream that was running through it, and we spent the whole summer swimming in the stream when we weren't working and hiking. And I was 19, so it was amazing. And the fun thing was this place was a dumping ground for like inner city kids. They had kids from the inner city coming out here, and they were just, culture shock, right? They're out in the middle of the woods. They didn't know how to. It was funny. Some lasted, some didn't. It was just a matter of didn't discipline, and if your behavior problem, they kick you out of it. Because we're all kids, but it was fun. I lasted 9 months, and in the end, I quit because they wanted me to rat out other kids for smoking weed and drinking and all that crap. And I was like, I told them, here's the thing: if you're gonna be a leader, rule number one is you do not betray those under your command. You know what I mean? It's just they don't trust you, and it's funny because if they don't trust somebody, the work it sucks. It just the productivity sucks. I got people to do what I wanted because they liked me. And that's why they wanted me to be a crew leader, because all the crew leaders would look into me to, they'd be like, this is what we're going to do. What do you think? And I'm like, okay. And I'd start figuring out, and I'd tell everybody, this is what we got to do, blah, blah, blah. So everybody just jumped to it because they liked me and I was a nice person. It was like everybody got along with me. But they tried to make me a crew leader and rat people out. I just wasn't having none of that. So I told them to go shove it up their ass and quit. But it was a great job. Loved the wildness. Because I was in the city. I mean, I went camping as a kid, but now I'm a city kid, so it was interesting. It was getting funny thing was I left right when it was getting winter, snowing, and so I was probably good timing. Anyways, I was just trying to build up dams in the middle of the winter, freezing water. Yeah, it's not fun. But anyway, forests are your friend. They love you. Hug a tree. Don't be ashamed. It's hey. Love you. It's like knocking on wood. That's good luck. Norwegian thing. But yeah, you could also hug a tree, and that's also good luck. So hug a tree and make a friend. I don't know. Just 5-second rule. Ass out. Okay, don't get perverted on the trees. Like I said, people are marrying dogs. You don't want to be. I married this spruce. Leave the tree be. That means that. Anyway, yeah. But hug a tree. Have a wonderful day. Okay. Love and light, people.